Mm-mm-mm. Hi, everyone. Carmen Denisco here on UIA TV. We are just kicking along on these episodes, these workshops, these seminars. Got some great educational pieces, some awesome commenters, some awesome comments, some awesome hosts, and best of all, great guests. I have my co-host, Mr. Christopher Guerrero. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Carmine, how you doing today? Yeah,
I'm
we
doing
got
good,
a
man.
we got a fun one today. We
Oh,
got
man.
what really Made in USA is all about, right? When I think of Johnny George, I think of the Chevy truck, right? That commercial.
Oh man, you better go to Ford.
Okay, I think of the Ford truck then. And don't forget, we have a special guest with Matt Nucci helping the host today.
Hello.
That's right. Awesome.
Oh, by the way, I drive a Titan.
Ain't no car commercials. Hey, so let's just get right into it, baby. We got Johnny George, right? Johnny George from Georgia. He's a farmer, and we want a story. I mean, I'm partnered up with Vernon Nolan, who's a farmer. Been to his farm. I've seen all the things he's done. Johnny's had some success on Shark Tank, but before we get into that, let's hear about what you're doing every day, Johnny. I think you might be farming right now.
He's
Right
doing
now,
what he does every day.
Yeah.
I'm working in Attapogus, Georgia, putting in microjet irrigation. And when we plant the trees on Tuesday, a tree TP goes around every tree.
Tree
So I'm
TP,
digging
what's
in
that? What's a tree TP?
Okay. Tree TP is the best water conservation and freeze protection device on the market.
There you go.
Instead of watering your crops, your orange trees or your pistachios, almonds, olives, apples, we can keep going. For hours, you're going to water for minutes. And farming is a business. So that's money saved in electricity or fuel. And when you add that up for the year, it's enormous. You're saving about 3,000% on the water. What the Tree TP does is this. It's a water containment system for agriculture. Anybody growing trees in ag, we contain the water to the tree only. We're not going to water the weeds and grass anymore. And we don't need that deadly, what you call Roundup to kill the weeds with, because we're not growing them anymore, just the tree.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'll tell you a quick tidbit. We were talking before we went live, and Vernon Nolan's a partner of mine. We just mentioned that, right, Don? He's a farmer. His son,
I love Vernon.
his son is taking over. So tell me what you told me about his son.
Oh, Jacob.
Yeah.
He is Farmer of the Year in Georgia. He's Georgia Farmer of the Year. I read about it in a periodical not even 2 weeks ago. I called him up to congratulate him. He grows corn, soybean. He's also a citrus farmer, and that's where I come into play. And even through the freeze, he had the tree TP. He put tree TPs on all his trees. Done very well. He's made it through a deep freeze, even snow, and didn't lose one single tree.
Yeah.
So
that's
Hey, Johnny, can I ask you, how did you come up with the tree TP? Was it something you were just doing on your
my
own?
father came with the idea. Here's what happened. We used to go into the grove before the freeze. We'd take shovels and hose and dig. When we plant new trees, we would dig the dirt up around them and cover the tree. We'd bury the tree. So it'd be 3 feet tall. We'd have to dig up that much dirt to bury the tree with, so it'd make it through the freeze. Then after the freeze, we'd go pull the dirt off from around the tree, and it'd still be alive. We covered it up. That was such tedious, the back-breaking work. Nothing but blisters on your hands, because it's not like there's just dirt around that tree. There's weeds and grass. You got to dig through all that to get it dug up. Anyway, that day there, my dad took a plastic sheet, put it around the tree. We put the microjet inside the tree, which the water was 72 degrees. And it was snowing that night, 1977. I'll never forget it.
Oh, it's like a sauna then. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it snowed on that night. I want to say it might have been November, October, the end of October, November. Anyway, all the citrus got wiped out in one night in Central Florida, except for our grove. And that was the start of the tree TP. And then, of course, we developed it Daddy developed it into a small cone. You know, the smaller the better, the cheaper the better. And we used them on our trees. We didn't sell them because to us, we were like, it was kind of like a secret, you know. Then I told Daddy, I said, let's make them bigger and we could put them around the trees and look at the water we could save. He said, nobody cares about water. Well, that at this time, we had been using tree TPs for maybe 6 years, like 1984. And he, you know, nobody cares about water is what he told me. You know, fuel's $1 a gallon. That's what we use to pump it with. But they do care about the freeze protection. So that's what it was developed for, was the freeze protection. And my input was the water conservation. So from 1984 to 2013, of course, I'm a well driller, irrigation man, pump man, over 10,000 pumps put in a 20-year period, about 125 new set pump stations per year. That's pumping water, plus all the service work. So I got a deep knowledge of, you know, what it's like from Claremont to Clewiston in the state of Florida, and where, you know, what's happened to our water table and our aquifers, which are completely depleted and destroyed. And I said, well, if we would micromanage our water, like we do our fertilizer, because fertilizer costs $20 a gallon, like we do our herbicide, you know, expensive chemicals, we could do without them expensive chemicals and do a much better job growing our trees. Now, you don't get something for nothing. You got to do a little extra work. You got to contain that water to the tree, and that's where the tree TP comes in. And instead of watering our neighbors would water for 8 hours, they turn their pumps on in the morning and come back in the afternoon to turn them off. I turn ours on, run for 30 minutes, stand right there, eat a sandwich, and then shut it off. We're good to go.
When you and your father first making them,
contained each tree, we measured how much. Like every farmer does it differently. Us, we would like 1.5 inches of water on each tree. Well, in 15 minutes with a blue microjet putting out 10.5 gallons per hour, we got 1.5 inches of water on each tree.
That's pretty
Math
cool.
never lies.
The original versions of it, I mean, before you started.
So that's how it came about. My father, I told him that on Shark Tank. They couldn't believe it.
Right, were they like, how long were they back
first
before they became vacuum forms? Like, how long were you doing it the other way first?
Say that again. What's the question?
How long? So there were several incarnations of the product, right? Initially, you said you were doing it as a bag over the mound. When did it change from a bag into more of the current state of design?
Well, the first design was a sheet of plastic we wrapped around the tree. You know, made a round circle around the tree and put the water sprinkler inside it. So the heat from the water, we were watching it rise up. About 2 weeks later, my dad had me in there. We were designing something that was smaller and simpler just for freeze protection to put on for 1 or 2 or 3 nights and then take off. That way we didn't have to mound the tree with dirt. Are you following me?
Yes.
Okay. The design we have now is my design. I took my dad's and incorporated it into it, but I put a lip at the top. That way, even condensation that comes up out of the ground goes up around the lip and drips right back down to the root. So all of the moisture coming from the ground feeds that tree. All the moisture we give the tree that man puts on it, or farmers, men or women, all the water only goes to the tap root and the main roots of the tree. It doesn't slow down feeder roots either, by the way. They grow just like they normally do. Wherever the rain is, that's where they go. But the water that we put on it, the water that we use, we can micromanage it. When we started doing that, it had a huge domino effect. We micromanaged our water. We were, you know, our fuel bill went from $1,600 a month down to $200. Our fertilizer bill, well, we only used 25% of what we normally were doing because it was all going to the tree. You know, we used liquid fertilizer. So we were wasting 75% of our fertilizer. And then we figured out we didn't need any herbicide at all because we weren't watering the weeds and grass. We just mow. So that cut out all that herbicide. So at the end of the year, we were saving 75 cents on the dollar compared to the competition.
Wow.
To get our trees into production. That's an easy way of putting it.
This is brilliant. This is not just a good idea. It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, that is it's.
Well, I was at a citrus show and Steve Futch was on stage. He's one of the big time scientists here in Florida, Swift Mud guys. I don't want to misspoke. I know he's over the water quality and water in Florida, but anyway, he was on stage and he said, if you're a farmer, and I was just one of the guys in the audience. I loved it. He had the teepees on a big screen behind him. And he goes, if it costs you $1 a year to run your farm and it costs me $1 and we had the same size farm, I can use 3 teepees and now I can run my farm for 25 cents. And you still got to spend $1. And by the way, I get into production quicker than you because it's about a 30% increase on the growth of new trees. And that's a big thing to us. And that's what, when I went on Shark Tank, I wasn't even thinking about that. Farming is a business and I got a capital investment into that tree and I got to get a return on it. And that's not even counting the ground that's underneath it. So that's how I look at this, because we have to make money. If we didn't save, for me, it's about saving water, saving trees. To the farmer, it's about saving money because that's how he makes his living.
So Johnny, so now you've got something your dad developed, you perfected it, right? You got a product that you're using, you have an advantage in the marketplace to all the other farmers. Now what's next, right? I know you went on Shark Tank, but did you say, I need to get this out nationally, I need to sell it to other farmers, I need to help out the economy? What happened next?
After the show, John Paul, he asked me what my dream was, and I said to conquer the state of Florida. I'm laughing about it because he had a little bit different vision,
right?
A more worldwide vision. So the first thing he had me do was get on a plane to the Middle East.
Wow, beautiful. All right, so let's talk about that. So you got a product now, you decide, I'm going to go on Shark Tank. Let's talk about that process. I spend 10 minutes on that, talking about how did you actually get yourself in front of the sharks?
I had an intern working for me. I went to Florida Southern College. I was doing a symposium there on water conservation to the agricultural class, Jim Nunnally's. And when I got done, he asked me if I would take in a couple of the boys for interns. And work them out in the groves. I pull and set turbine pumps and drill wells. And I said, sure, I'll work a couple of strong young men for the summer. And I have to grade them on it. They get credits for this. So one of the young men, his name was Cole Brewer. One day I take him out to a grove and I was delivering, 15,000 teepees out there. And I was working on the guy's pump. He goes, what are these things? And I said, let's put them on. So the crews went out there and put them on, and I went out there and he said, now tell me what it does. And I did. When I did, he took out his iPhone and filmed me for about 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. The next day, I get a phone call from a guy named Vincent Arturi. And I thought he said fish tank. I'm at work and I'm like, fish tank. I ain't got time for this. Hang up on him, if you want to know the real truth.
There's no guppies in that tank.
So we go back to putting in the pump and Cole goes, who was that on the phone? Because I guess he knew what he had done. He sent the video off to California. And so I run and call the guy back and he goes, 60,000 people apply for this and you hang up on me. I told him I'm sorry. I didn't realize who he was. I'm at work, I don't have time for what I thought was going on, and he goes, well, I'm part of Shark Tank. We'd love to have you on our show, and can I send you a hashtag and we'll see you in a week. So there it was. That. I think
it's funny how that happens. Okay, so now they get you on Shark Tank. You go to it was LA at the time, right? So walk us through that whole process.
They give you a hashtag, I had a first class plane ticket, went to LA. When you got there, they gave me $1,000 or whatever it was. Yeah, about $1,000. Nice. And we got to stay in a nice hotel and I had room service. And I didn't even think they'd put me on the show because when I got there, I was outside sleeping on. So
you were going on vacation.
Well, I was at Sony Picture Studios. I had jet lag and I'm outside sleeping. And they walked me into this room And there's like 100 people sitting at these tables in their chairs. And they all got their computers in front of them. And they told me to give them my pitch. And they gave me a piece of paper. And I said, what is this? They go, well, this is your pitch. And I started laughing. I said, I'm not an actor. I'm not a puppet. And I don't need your money. I wasn't being arrogant. I said, I already make good money. I'll get my own plane ticket home. I don't even need this. But I didn't know. I'm not going to read your script. And they go, well, you had 6 months to prepare for it. I said, you called me 4 days ago. And they go and invited me out. Why are you here? I said, first class plane ticket, $1,000. Weekend.
Hey, I'm on vacation. I'm doing the Hollywood studio tour.
So I had fun with it, you know, and I think that was the secret, because I was like, show me the show. So they turned on the computer and showed me some excerpts of the show. I said, oh, well, this is, you know, I've seen the commercials, but I never watched it. You know, I mean, it's not, I don't get into TV a whole lot except on Friday nights, you know, and that's when that show's on anyway. But anyway, it was just, I told them, I said, look, I can get up there and tell you how this works. I can talk and be me. And they were like, what? I said, throw the chips in the air, let them land where they may. People can make up their own minds about you. And that producer, she looked at me. Oh, I know, I almost say her name. She was like, never heard that before.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's how I remember you. Yeah, I remember your pitch. I remember you talking about, again, this is where I start talking about made in the USA. Come on, Carmine, do it with me. USA, USA. He's making this product right in Florida. But I remember you because you got really emotional. And I thought, it hit me. It hit me pretty cool to see you talking about your dad and getting emotional and telling your story. So go ahead, walk us through that a little bit. What was that like?
They told me that never had anybody given away the credit. It's always about me. I know, and he did. He grew up underneath. They didn't tolerate much rude behavior, but they were good, fair-minded people. I mean, toward everybody. We're Assyrian. My grandparents were immigrants from Iraq. I grew up in Polk County, Florida, and moved to Arcadia. Worked all my life. You know, no easy road for us. But we've always persevered, and you know, thank God, we're humbled and grateful for everything. You know, in my family, America was everything. But they came over on a boat to Ellis Island. All the stories that my grandmother told me, they were true. You don't realize what she's saying until you become an adult. But this was the greatest country in the world, the greatest opportunity, you know. And when being on Shark Tank, they told me nobody had ever given away the credit. It's always about what they had done. And I said, well, I just told the truth. I put my input in it. Yes, I came up with the water conservation. I made them bigger, and the timing was right. You know, I thought it was just a gift from God. You know, I didn't think anybody's going to pick me anyway. I wasn't nervous about that. You know,
well, I can tell you, I felt your emotion. You connected with me. I can tell you that obviously you connected with a lot of people.
That's fair. You know, and I told them right there on the show, I said, I sold 7,000 yesterday. I made $7,000. That's a pretty good day for Johnny. I don't know about you guys, but, you know, I was happy with, you know, with what I'm doing. Plus I do my crane work. And at the time I'm doing $1.5 million gross per year. And I've been doing that steadily. Some years you might do 2, some years you might do 1, but you know, I mean, I'm happy with that. I love getting up, going to work, digging in pipe. I love working with farmers. I love consulting. I'm an irrigation guru because my dad invented the microjet. It's called the Georgette, the microjet system that you see in America today. He was doing in the 60s, but he got the idea when he was in Israel. So you got to give the Israelis that, you know, because he saw their drip irrigation and he came up with a low volume irrigation for orange growers.
Yep. So you did your pitch, you got it all out. You talked about your dad, right?
Yep.
And what happened? Who connected with you? Who did a deal with you?
John Paul Dejoria.
Mr. Patron himself.
Patron Tequila, which he sold to the Bacardi family in May of 2018 for $5.1 billion.
That's it? Only $5.1 billion?
Yeah, it's on the. You can look it up. You can
No,
fact
no,
check
I
it.
know.
Yeah, he sold it to the Bacardi family for
$1 billion of that was from my family, just so you know. We drank that much.
Hey, you should have seen my dumb butt. I'm like, you get paid that in money? I've learned a lot. You know, he's 1 month difference than my dad in age. And we really started getting along when I started treating him like I treated my dad. Because, you know, when we first got together, it's not like it's a match made in heaven. And he had to learn me. I'm probably the first guy to ever say no to him in 30 years. There's a cute little story. I thought that he was done with me after that. But I didn't know you weren't supposed to say no.
Yeah, right. Well, let's hear the story. Tell it.
When we first, it was, oh Lord. Okay. When we first got together, I was so stuck in my way of doing things. He's a businessman. I'm good in that field. I'm running my little bitty crane business, and, you know, I know how to bill for the parts and labor. He knows how to do business, how to run a business. So he had called me, you know, I was way behind one day, and he called me up, and he was telling me how to do things. And I was like, no, I want to do it this way. Well, doing it my way, I lost. Doing it his way, I gained. So that grabbed a hold of me. So when I got there one day, one of the handlers said, "Did you say no to John Paul?" And I was like, "Did I do something wrong?" And she's like, "No." And I said, "Well, I pulled us out of it." She says, "He respects you." Because everybody always says yes to him. And I didn't know. I wasn't doing it I was doing it because I didn't know any better. And I still don't, you know.
What was he telling you to do that was so much more profitable than what you were doing already?
Sir?
What was his suggestions? Can you tell us some suggestions that he had that made a big difference?
Well, he was going over what works and what didn't work. And I gave him, he told me to write it all down, and I wrote in one column what hasn't worked and all the stuff that has worked in the other column. And his suggestion was to tear the piece of paper in half, throw away the stuff that didn't work, and just keep doing the stuff that works. You know how when a man of his insight and vision, and that's what he has, because he's just like us, man. He came from homelessness. That's how we get along. We both came from the same hole. I mean, from nothing. And he gave me more vision on how to look at things the way they'll be in the future than they are today. You following me?
Mm-hmm. And you said, you know, Johnny, that's what makes you so wholesome. That you are. You're you know, a farmer, USA guy. So tell me a little bit about the international stuff. You said he took you over the waters to do some business. What was that like?
Yeah, I got to fly to Madrid, Spain. Loved it there. It was awesome. Then I went to Tel Aviv, Israel, and I went to the Mashav show, the Zionist show in Tel Aviv. It was a hit, a real hit. And we sold 3 or 4 container loads. They're growing date palms in the Middle East in the desert, and they used recycled, you know, desalinated water from the ocean. Very expensive. And they told me if they could save 5% of their water using tree TP, it'd be worth it. But we put them on each tree out in the desert, they're saving over 50%. They're pretty happy.
Wow.
But, you know,
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Like the size of Polk County. You know, I mean, so it's not a very big place.
50, Johnny, did you say 50%?
Yes, sir, on the drip.
That's amazing. God.
They only use drip over there. And how it works, so I can explain it real quick, is there's no sun baking off the sand anymore. The tree TP actually shades the tree also. Underneath it, it's 8 degrees cooler. You know, it's like putting a piece of black plastic over your head outside. If you reach up and touch it, it's hotter than Hades. But underneath it, you're shaded. Same thing on a tree. Now, if I put a white piece of plastic over your head, you're going to cook. You're going to cook real bad because all the ultraviolet light's coming through it and it will cook you. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
I like to put things in layman's terms. So, it's real easy to understand. We can get real technical about it and talk about precipitation and the effects and the degrees of it. Overall, though, when they're putting the drip out on the ground, it makes for a deep tap root because, the water's stationary right there. It's going right through the sand. The roots are growing down with it. So it makes for a stronger tree and the sun isn't baking it off the ground. Oh, and by the way, at night when the condensation builds up, it runs up the side of the teepees and drips right back down. So we're not wasting any water.
Wow. And you don't want to get too technical with Chris on the phone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll break it down for you. Here's a technical. He's making it in the USA, and it's right in your hometown. Carmine, how about that? Florida.
And he's making a boatload of money.
Give him back. That's what it's about.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about some fun stuff. So you get hooked up with John Paul, and I see you hanging out in Hollywood and Oscars, Grammys, movie stars, boxers. Let's hear about those stories.
Which one do you want to know about?
You just pick a good one. Tell me the one at the Grammys or the Oscars you went to.
Okay. Well, we went to the showing, the premiere of the movie Good Fortune. It's the story of John Paul Dejoria's life. It's the first documentary to ever make it to the big screen in America. And I said, what significance is that? They go, JFK, MLK, Ronald Reagan, JP made it to the big screen. When I thought I had a cameo. So I tell my wife, I said, I got a cameo in this movie and I've been invited to the premiere and I get to go sit with JP. Well, he had me in front of him the whole movie and he's a practical joker. He was laughing at me. I was in shock. I'm sitting next to this Sea Shepherd. Oh God. And my wife is with Smokey Robinson and she's from Motown Girl. So she knows all the Motown music front to back. She's from Chicago. And Francis's wife was sitting there next to me. And I looked over at her. I said, you get this from all the women? She said, yeah, pretty much. I said, my wife used to look at me like that. But
Come on, sing some Motown for us. Tears of a Clown. Come on, buddy. You can do it.
No, you don't. If I sang, everyone turn off the podcast, kill him.
Well, I met, to tell you something about my singing career, it didn't last very long. I met Steven Tyler, and I had been told for years I couldn't sing. So I sang to him. And he said, okay, bud, take the picture now. So I said, that my singing career is over, I guess, right? He said, I didn't say that. Just take the picture. So
when did it start?
I know my limitations.
Here's one for you. A year later, I get invited to the Enviro Media Association's Entrepreneur of the Year. And they fly me out to LA. They put me in the montage, which I'd never been, I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't care how much money you got. $35 hamburger. And if you want French fries, it's extra 12. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, Entrepreneur of the Year. And I go, 2,600 people are invited from around the world to take part in this. And on stage is Jaden Smith, the president of Leonardo DiCaprio's fund, and, all these important people. They're your judges, just like being on Shark Tank. And I made it to the last 3 people. After 2,600 people, I made it to the top 3. And when I saw JP, I told him, I wanted to win for him, because he's done so much for me, taught me, and not monetarily, but mentally. That's what it's about, building that brain, because nobody can steal that from you. They can take everything from you but your mind, you know. And he told me that just, you know, when you get out there, just be you. So I go out there and I answer all their questions. And at the very end, they said, in one word, describe what you do. I said, legacy. And the head of the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation looked at me and he goes, explain it. I said, the greatest man that ever walked the planet never gave away a penny, but he gave everything he had and all that he was, that we all might be saved. And I said, whether you believe in him or you don't believe in him, you know who he is. Legacy. The place erupted. You know, it was an unbelievable moment. You know, it's like being on Shark Tank, but it was, you know, and I came in second, by the way. An old dumb farmer from Winter Haven, Florida, going up against Harvard, Princeton, and all these smart people. And
That's my boy. I knew you could. And that's a pretty cool story.
I play the part well. I play the part. I mean, you know how you kind of like a Steve Irwin effect. You know, when you get on camera on your own stage, you take it to that next level. And and whatever comes out of you, the charisma or the passion, whatever they say it is, I don't see it, but it's there. For me, it's about,
like I said, you're wholesome, you're believable, you're a good dude, and I think you know, that's why it's okay to show some emotion like that. You're talking about your dad, right, on a big stage. It's people relate to that. I felt it. I didn't even know you then, and I felt it. So it just tells you about your character a little bit.
When it comes to work, I'm going to tell you the truth. Not holier than thou. I'm not one of them. But if you know, but I tell you, they started laughing. They go, "When you going to lie?" I said, "Well, about my fish, my deer rack, or my pecker, I'm going to lie." I said, "But when it comes to water, I'm going to tell you the truth."
Hey, Carmine does that all the time. Don't worry.
Oh.
All right, so Johnny, let's talk about something else now. So I see you with some beautiful grandchildren, your kids. Talk about your family a little bit. I think it's it represents who you are. I see a lot of pretty cool pictures.
I got a wife. I have 5 children. We're a blended family. All my kids are doing really good. I thank God for that. They're angels compared to the way I was. Very much angels compared to me. And I don't tell them that. I don't want them to step up to that level. You know, we grew up in a different world. You know, we're 4th grade, you're going to work, you're making $5 a week. When you graduate high school, you're making $1.25 an hour and you go to work for your dad. You know, and when you want to go to college, don't waste his money or time. You go at night. So I went at night after work. And of course, my big thing was learning water engineering for water, how to run water, what makes it tick. You know, to have the same amount of pressure a mile away that you got over here closest to the pump. Well, within 10% anyway. So all your trees will grow evenly. And school did help there. But most of it was my dad, my grandfather, and what they, you know, drilled into. Learn a trade. So
what's happening with the kids now? Anybody following your footsteps?
My son is a gold medal fabricator. I introduced him to Jesse James years ago. He saw me, you know, I build manifold systems. So I'm the old stick welder, and he's watching me fabricate, and he took it to a level I could never dream of. He holds 6 certificates in welding right now. And he went, and I didn't know about the gold medal till I saw it on Facebook. What a modest young man. He bought his first house March of last year on his own without me. He makes a lot of money, more than what I would pay him to do working for me at the moment. And but he helps me anytime I need it, and he loves what I do. But he's going in a different direction. The girls, one is on the National Hooters calendar. Chelsea, that's a big deal to her. She loves it. And Stephanie will be graduating this month. Just sent her the title to her car, and it's doing very well. And still got 2 at home. We had a big surprise a few years ago. Mama got pregnant, and I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And once we figured out what was making all these youngins, we quit that.
You needed a tree teepee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking,
I said I wake up underneath a teepee every day.
So what's the future? What's the future of the tree teepee? Where you headed with this product? You looking to make it worldwide?
They're going to use the tree teepee or a product like it because there is not enough fresh water to grow food for 9 billion people. People, non-farmers do not realize that you cannot grow sustainable food for the population of the world inside. It doesn't work that way. There's a movie out by Josh and Rebecca Tickell, produced by John Paul Dejoria, called Kiss the Ground. Very educational, unbelievable on how farming practices of the 1800s, how we did it without chemicals. I'm not against chemical companies. They don't like the tree TP at all because it cuts back on their product by 75%. So 75 cents on the dollar. The water billionaires, we won't mention names. I like them. They're good people, but they don't like the tree TP because of the water savings. It cuts back on their money. If you're selling the water in California, why would you want the tree TP? They're going to use 90, just call it. If you listen to the scientists, it's 91% less fertilizer, 87% less water. In the real world, the real farming situation that I do, we save 75 cents on the dollar.
So with John Paul now, how involved is he right now with you? And how much are you guys still working together? It's been what? You aired, was it 2013, right?
Yeah. It's been a long, hard road.
Yeah.
It didn't start out all, like they show you on Shark Tank where you're dancing in Hawaii. But he told me, he said he got a real worker. He goes, I'm a tiger that he has to hold by the tail, but it sure beats goose and a moose. That's what he told me last time.
Beautiful. So how often do you see him? Does he come visit you? Do you go visit him?
No, I go visit him. He don't need to fly in Florida. When I'm in LA, I see him. Austin, Texas, you see him. Mm-hmm. Of course, we got the telephone communications like this. It's like me talking to you.
Right.
He's the most wonderful. He is what you see. He really is that guy. And he's pretty much happy all the time. One thing that I noticed, they had a birthday for him 2 years ago and the movie premiere. And I noticed when I was standing, how you do interview after interview after interview, they line them up, we got to walk the red carpet. And I noticed that all the stars, I won't mention names, every time that they got interviewed, they would talk about them. Have you seen my new movie? It's coming out. Yeah, John Paul's having a birthday. We're glad to be here. And you know what I'm doing here? And me and her, we're going over here. And this is our, and I was sitting there and I was listening to the me's and the I's and my. And when they asked me, I said, this was Connect TV out in LA. And I was like, I'm here to represent John Paul. This is his movie premiere about his life. It's been the most amazing ride. I'm grateful and humbled that he picked me. It's, and being with him, he's an earth first guy. That's who I am. He loves farming. That's what I love. And we get along really good. And I said, I can tell you what makes him tick. And the interviewer goes, what? And I said, he has vision. Can you remember what you did yesterday? You know what you're doing tomorrow? And the guy looked at me and said, I don't know what I'm doing today. Huh. I said, well, he looks at tomorrow like he's looking at 10 years from now. So, he's like a visionary. So everything that I said was about John Paul. So about 4 a.m. that morning, I get a phone call. And they're watching all these interviews, him and Eloise, they're in their room, and he said, I had the best interview of all of his good friends that were movie stars. I didn't tell him what I just told you, by the way. I was analyzing what they were saying. And I was like, well, if it was the movie premiere about his life, it ought to be about him. This is his night. But, you get a camera in front of you want to plug what you're doing for some reason. That's what I noticed.
Yeah. And that's what, again, Johnny, that's what makes you so wholesome.
Really for me to, say, and I hope y'all don't mind me chewing tobacco while I'm on the.
No, it's the narrative. All right. So tell me this. Like, if you take one big takeaway from Shark Tank, what is it? What do you take home with you? You went on Shark Tank. You met a pretty big time business partner. You did a deal. What's the big take that you have?
JP.
Like a mentor, right? A good leadership, good mentor.
Yeah. Going on Shark Tank, I didn't expect anybody to pick me. I had fun. I really did. I did a 1.5 minute video on an iPhone that a kid sent in from college. I know people that do $12,000 productions to send in to see if they can just get on this show. We're the most watched segment in Shark Tank history. I'm the only entrepreneur in Shark Tank history that's starring in the movie Good Fortune with His Shark. So there's a lot of takeaways. It's not just one. The movie thing was great. I wasn't going to be in it if it was going to be about the Flash, and and that's what when he asked me to do it, I was like, is it going to be the $50 million house and all that? Because I don't need all that. That's not who I am. And he goes, no, none of that will be in it. It'll be about, I said, real people, regular Joes like us, because he's a regular Joe to me. I mean, because of where he came from. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, I'm all in.
Yeah, right.
My biggest takeaway from the show, Roma Downey Jr. is Roma Downey, I was thinking of Robert Downey Jr. Roma Downey is a beautiful person. Mark Burnett's wife. She is absolutely one of my favorite people. Another takeaway from it was just the whole experience, and not going there being serious, not going there with a pre-planned script. I think that's what made it beautiful. I didn't have any expectations. I was going to get to be on TV and say hi to everybody,
that was in between your vacation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you say, like, if you had to give an entrepreneur going on Shark Tank, what would be your advice to them?
Relax. Don't take it too seriously. Have fun. There's
a lot of people get nervous. You can see it. Yeah. I've seen people holding stuff up. Their hands are shaking. The voice is cracking. And I think you're right. It's hard not to, though. Honestly, it's hard not to. But you're right. I think the less serious you take it and the more fun you have with it, the better off you'll be.
But I put my hand up on that TP. What y'all see, I relaxed. And he goes, I'm just trying to get inside your head. See what? Go ahead. Okay, I'm ready. Mm-hmm. I'm ready for the questions. I made, a lot of things they didn't put on TV. I made them all farmers. This half's using TPs, the other half isn't. You're going to save this much water, this much fuel, this much electricity, this much fertilizer, and you're going to spend it. And by the way, the one using the TP is going to get to market quicker. In other words, they're going to get a higher price for their fruit than you are, because it's going to be flooded by the time you show up, because they're there first. And I said, so it's a business. It's a capital investment. We got to get a return on that money. they were like, after the show, what I didn't realize, this would be something that's really cool for y'all to know about that you don't know, but it's on analytics. 10 billion women in America on Friday night were using up a bunch of tissues. And on Saturday morning, they were going to get their hair done while their husbands went to play golf to be ready for Saturday night for dinner or whatever they were doing. Well, them 10 million women went to the hair shop to get their hair done. They looked up on the shelf and saw Paul Mitchell products. They bought him out. They were sending cases of shampoo to their friends. They were supporting him. I think he sold $150 million worth of shampoo the next day.
Wow.
Not bad for a $150,000 investment. I'm laughing about it because the return on that money for what he did, and I'm using a very low conservative number too. 10 million women went to get their hair done, and all of them bought Paul Mitchell. And it lasted for weeks like that. And that was awesome.
And just for the record, I used to use Paul Mitchell back in the day.
Yeah.
Now
yeah,
I don't have a need to. Just saying.
Who the hell is Paul Mitchell?
I'm not ashamed.
All right, so let me ask you one more question. End of the day, you've done all this, right? You've done all this. How has it really changed your life? You still seem like the same Johnny George as I've known, but it has an impact on you somehow. How did it change your life?
It's impacted. Wealth without sharing is totally wasted. Knowledge without sharing is totally wasted. That's John Paul's, quip line. And how has it changed? It hasn't really changed my life. It's changed the life of the people around me and the people that need it. They don't ever know it comes from me anyway. I don't do if my name's ever mentioned, I quit giving. I don't do it for that. I help the people that help themselves. That's the way I look at that.
Yeah, which I think that's amazing.
Here's a quick, cool one for you. I'm going to quit a real quip and quibble that he uses. Could have sold this business, made a few $1 million real quick. And he told me about his vision, what he wanted to do for the world. And I'm like, you're a multi-billionaire. You can say that. I'm a guy that works out here in the fields, He goes, just follow me. And I did. And then I said, he goes, in the end, everything's going to be okay, Johnny. That's what he said to me. And I looked at him face to face. This ain't on a telephone. And I said, what if it's not? He goes, then it's not the end.
Yeah, right. True. Hey, so Johnny, what do you think would have happened? Because he was a guest shark, right? So what do you think would have happened if he wasn't there?
I would have probably never been there. I know that Mark, and I can't say this because I don't have any evidence. So let's say this right up front. I have no evidence of this. What I had heard was Mark Burnett had asked John Paul for 5 years to be on his TV show. John Paul told him no. Mark Burnett looked at him and said, what would it take for you to even be on my show? He said, get somebody who's real, who truly wants to help others, change the world, one of them kind of fellas. And then I heard Mark Burnett saw my video, called JP and said, I got your man.
Wow.
I would imagine really all that shampoo that he sold over the years that he's going to want to conserve some water.
Well, in the video that was sent in, I remember standing up and I go, hey, Sharks, you want to change the world? All you got to do is put me on the show. And I was just having fun, and God knows, I sold my crane after the show 7 years ago. I sold all my equipment. My wife thought I was nuts and said, why are you doing this? I said, because I'm going all in. If I have my crane, if I hit a hiccup or a bump in the road, I'm going to run back and jump on my truck because I know I'm safe there. I know how to make money doing this. And, I'm going to set pumps and motors, and that's how I make a living, drilling wells, supplying water to farms. And if I had that, I would go and get right back on it, which was a big, major pay cut. And now, 7 years later, everything's okay. We're doing good. Very happy. But it didn't happen overnight.
That's awesome.
I thought after the show, here's one for you. We're all going to be multimillionaires in 6 months. It don't work out that way.
It never does. That's kind of the misconception we always talk about. First of all, it's not easy getting on Shark Tank. And then certainly after it is when the work really starts. I mean, there's a
Well,
lot
I
of
must be
planning
doing
involved, a
something
lot of work.
5 years ago, I signed a lifetime contract. I couldn't get the ink dry fast enough. That's how good a guy he is.
Yeah, that is pretty
Of course,
good.
you
So
contract.
what
you're
happens?
long-
So basically, when the contract runs out, is when he kills you. When he's done, that's
when I'm
it.
dead.
Disappears.
Yeah.
What happened to Johnny? I don't see him at the farm anymore.
He's under one of those teepees.
Hey, you know what the ironic thing is? The whole world's got to use it, or they're not going to be able to grow food. It's going to happen everywhere. It can't not do it because you won't be able to sustain. It's not sustainable.
And you're making them in Florida, right? Out of recycled material.
Yep, recycled plastic.
Yep.
Wow.
So it just adds to the cause. Beautiful.
It's amazing.
Well, here you have it, folks. Good old American boy Johnny Georges made it big on Shark Tank. And you heard the story. It's the truth. It's the American dream. It's what entrepreneurship's all about.
I am humbled and grateful to you guys for having me on your podcast. And I hope you enjoyed some of the stories.
I'm glad you didn't change who you are. You showed up. You're running a tractor right now. And you're doing your thing. You're doing what you do. I love it.
Hey, it's a first to have somebody dipping while being interviewed, so I'm very big moment.
It's just a habit, and I'm sorry. I didn't even realize it about halfway through. I said, "Yeah, I look like some punk redneck."
No way. This is it. But it goes to show you, like, this is what the American dream is all about. First of all, you did a great thing. You came up with, you continued your father's legacy. You went on Shark Tank, got a deal, and you still are the same person. That's what I always talk about. Nothing's changed you. I love that. That's what the American dream is all about.
The minute you change who you are, you lose.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Remember, and this is, and I see it, John Paul's got this quote next to his face everywhere. In the end, everything will be okay. If it's not the end. I love that.
Unless your contract's running out.
I mean, I wouldn't want to upset him.
Hey, Johnny, that lifetime contract, remember, you can extend it.
Yeah. I hope so. Hope it lasts a long, long time.
1 year increments.
Yeah, what a story.
About John Paul, he's a Navy guy, and the Navy taught him how to work with people, and that's how he learned to grow his business.
Yeah.
And for me, I actually love people like that. I like when I see somebody who does a lot of big things and they're just a normal person like everybody else, right? And then when they treat you that way, it's that much more gratification. I'm with you on that 100%. So I believe that.
There was some people being condescending to me, and I'm a big boy. I laugh. They're not worth my time or thought. They were just trying to get to you, and John Paul got rid of them. And I looked at him and I said, I can take care of it. And he looked at me. He said the same thing that I tell everybody. Nobody tells me what to do.
and then he said, don't forget, I have a lifetime contract on you.
I mean, the people he works with are beautiful people. Myra, the ones that I know, Michaeline, Nate, his daughter and son-in-law. I mean, and he's got a big blended family. And I know this, they are a wonderful group, and they're just naturally happy people. So I asked him one time, how do you stay so happy? He said, it's a state of mind. You can either be happy or not. That's up to you. And money don't make you happy. It'll buy you all the misery you can stand, but it's about who you are and how you want to feel, what you want. And it's strictly up to you. Happiness is you can beat happy thoughts, or you can say the world hates me, that's, and it's all an individual. So, and I love that,
Awesome.
No, so true.
All right.
Carmine, where'd you go, Carmine? Your background's changed.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I want to be who I am. He's chewing. I'm drinking beer at Hooters, man.
You're the man.
That was a green screen before. I want to be true.
Hey man, I got to thank you guys for having me on, all three of you. This has been awesome. I love
same
it.
here, Johnny. I appreciate you.
Good for y'all.
And I love the fact that you're real, and that's what we talked about, right? This is going to be like having coffee, having a conversation, and your story is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely appreciate you.
Yeah.
Anytime I can help y'all out, let me know. I'm there.
Cool. All right. Well, that was awesome, man. Well, listen, thanks everybody. All you viewers out there, listeners, go on out to UIA TV. Make sure you please, if you are listening, you're enjoying it, please be a subscriber. We could use the help. Let us know how we're doing. Send in anything, any suggestions. It's all been great. Going out to UIAUSA.org. Make sure you become a member of the UIA. It's free, and we are here to help you. And thank you so much for listening in. We are nothing without our listeners, our members. It's been so great. I thank Mr. Johnny George. Awesome show. One of the best ones so far. It's been so much fun. Christopher Guerrero, our co-host, Matt Nuncio, is going to be taking over some co-host abilities. We thank you so much. And we will catch you next time on UIA TV. You all take care.